And we're in the Maamar, Lecha Amar Libi from 1941 out of Rosh Hashanah, Leil Shlishi actually, the third day of Slichas. We're on page 9. Moshe sent out the copies, so I hope you have them on your WhatsApp. And we're discussing now the idea of Ria Sichlis and Ria Muchoshis. Two types of observation, two types of seeing. One is called the intellectual seeing or the mind's eye, and the other one is tangible seeing, like that you see with your eyes. And we left off yesterday where the Rebbe said, and he made a very important point, that both types of observations will be better appreciated and will resonate better if you have an understanding of what you're seeing, whether it be seeing with the mind's eye or physically seeing it. If you understand the subject matter, then the result is healthier and better and clearer. This is where we're at. So now we're about 11, 12 lines on page 9. And he's over here. Let's see, hold on. Okay. B'chol zeh, so this would be about 10 lines from the top. The beginning of the line. B'chol zeh, hine shnei mini riyah, these two types of riyah, which are, number one, Hasichlis, the intellectual one, the mind's eye. Number two, Vahamuchoshis, and the tangible one, Mischalkim b'Yechusam. They differ in their Yechusam. Yechusam in this sense, I believe, means in their result. Hainu, Shemischalkim b'Inyin Riyosam b'Dover Hanira. They differ in the manner in what we see. And he explains, the Hariya Sichlis, when you're using your mind's eye, although it's being filtered through the human mind, which understands what you're seeing with the mind's eye very well, and like we quoted yesterday, remember Pirkei Avos, Ezel Chochem Haroyas Hanoiled. To see the future, you don't see it now. Let's say stocks, right? You don't see what the stocks, you don't see the worth of the stock in a month from now, but you understand, based on market conditions, based on an election coming, based on the type of stock that you're looking to purchase or not purchase, based on the economic situation and the world politics, you then make a decision whether this is a good investment or a bad investment, right? So the mind's eye makes a decision and is enhanced based on comprehending what's going on over here. So this is what he says. The Hariya Sichlis, the mind's eye, even though it filters, it goes through the filter of the human mind, nevertheless, it has an association more with the soul. I want you to know that when we learn Chassidus, it's not about shaking our heads, yes, 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 Rabbi. You have to understand. You must understand. Otherwise, it's saying Aleph Beis. And we're not davening or saying Tillim now. We need to understand what we're saying. What does it mean? Misyacheses yoser el hanefesh. And the English translation means it's mityaches. It's associated more with the soul. And this is what he's saying. That although...
So above...
What?
So the word, when we said above ikusam, you said that word was result. I was sort of pondering it.
Right. No, I meant the result in the context of a relationship, mityacheses. Mit yad cheses. It's associated with. Well, now, but let me explain this. Yeah. The nefesh, the soul, the nefesh, is the abode of spirituality, of ruchnius. Whatever in your life is a spiritual experience, or you think of it as a spiritual experience, and if indeed it is, it's associated more to the soul. It's not the body, because the body wants to, you know the famous word, I think they say it goes back to the Chayz of Lublin. Guf. The word guf, right? It's gimel, vav, fei. So this is what we say. Guf is an acronym for Guf will fressen. The body wants to indulge in eating. Fressen. So then we say to the Guf, hey, Guf, if you're going to fress, then what's going to be is, number 2, second acronym, Guf vet pegeren. The body will die, like a pagan means a corpse. So why do you want to fress if you're going to become sick? And the third acronym is the response, nebuch, of the Guf, which is Guf will fort. I still want it. I know I'm going to, God forbid, die. I know, God forbid, I'm going to be sick. But I still want it. That's our Guf. So let's not kid ourselves, guys. The Guf is very animalistic. The Guf is very driven to Taiva. The Guf is driven to Gashmias. Okay? Tell me the last time... One second. Tell me the last time you saw someone who runs to shul and runs to learn with the same passion as he does after a fast day when he hasn't eaten 24 hours. Tell me the last time you've seen yourself or someone else who does a mitzvah of Avas Yisrael with the same geschmack as he does when he collapses on the couch after schwitzing and running around all day. Does he need a premeditation to fall asleep? Or as soon as he sits down, he goes, he's out. No preparation. Why? Because the Guf is such a thing that it automatically is associated with Gashmias. So that's what the Rebbe says. When you're talking about the mind's eye, the Rebbe says here we're talking not about a physical seeing, but more of a spiritual seeing. So that element is associated more to spirit versus material, to soul versus body. Hillel, you wanted to ask something?
Yes. Here it seems like you're explaining the word nefesh in kind of the generic sense, like you would say in English, soul, and that's the term you use. But throughout the Tanya, it makes this very important central distinction between that there are 2 nefashos that live within us, nefesh habahamis and nefesh halakos. So, is there any kind of connection here between the implication of which nefesh we're talking about here?
In general, in Hasidus Chabad, when you learn a Maamar like here, and it's not the place where they're discussing the differences between the souls, the nefesh refers to the animating aspect which is associated more to the nefesh habamis, the nefesh elokis, but it's still a spiritual entity.
Well, so meaning like the elan vital, the life force, that, and so to speak. So the implication when he uses the term nefesh here is of the, one might say, like the energetic substrate that expresses itself within us as both a nefesh bahamas and a nefesh elokis.
In this context, yes, but
okay.
again, but over here he's identifying nefesh as ruchnius compared to guf as gashmius. Let's continue. Now he goes to the second type of Riya Moshe. V'hariya mechoshis. What about the actual seeing with your eyes, the tangible, what you see? Im hayoysa havona sichlis. We said earlier that to appreciate what you see, by understanding it properly, your seeing will be more correct. Nevertheless, bechol zeh misyacheses yoser el haguf. That seeing is associated more with the body. The guf sees. I see it's sunny outside now. That's what I see. You're going to tell me that I understand that it was dark before. I understand there was sunrise. And I understand the purpose of the sun. And on and on and on. Very, very nice. Very good. But at the end of the day, what sees your eyes sees? And your eyes are gashmis. So therefore, the second type of Riya, Yonason, is misyacheses yoiser, is more associated with the guf. The inyan ha-yichusim, now the Rebbe says, and their associations, who benoisin teichin hariyos, is about the subject matter of what they perceive. The beriya muchishis, when we talk about tangible seeing, harihu bikoroi, primarily, what does it see? B'chomer hadavrahu, the chomer, the material. Ki kol davar v'inyan shebar kodesh baruch hu, because every issue, an item that Hashem, blessed be, created, bein begufei v'nefashos d'tzvah haaretz, whether it be the bodies and souls of earthly hosts, meaning, what we find on earth, or whether they be the bodies and souls of the heavenly hosts, the stars, the moon, etc. Yesh bahem, they have two things. They're comprised of two things. Chaymer v'tzura. What does that mean? Chaymer means the material. V'tzura means the form. Okay, remember those words. Chaymer v'tzura. Umuvan hadavar, it's understood ki hachaymer v'tzura, that the material and the form, hu b'chol nivro lefi oifen hanivra, based on what the creature and creation is, that's what type of material and form it has. Right? An animal has one type of material and form, and a human has another, and so true for the vegetation, and so too for the inanimate, for the soil, etc. Nevertheless, what is the primary focus of the tangible type of Re'iyah, seeing? It identifies mostly with the chaymer, with the material of the creature, shehu gufay, which is the body of the creature. Whereas v'hariyah sichlis, the intellectual perception, the mind's eye, he benafshe shel hanifra, it looks towards the soul of the creature. So, very important point here. Two people can look at the same thing, and one person sees in it soul, and one person sees in it material, body. So let's go back to the art example. One person could look at the art and see a beautiful drawing, a beautiful painting, but that's all he sees in it. He sees what's in front of him. He does not see what's behind the picture. He doesn't see, quote, the soul of the picture. He sees the body of the picture. He sees the chomer of the picture, the material he sees the nice colors, he needs the nice strokes, he sees all of that. So when you talk about a beautiful Picasso or a beautiful Braun, you could look at the beautiful Braun Picasso and you could say, nice artist, great talent. And that's it. And then you could say, this tells me much about Moshe Braun, Lahavdil Picasso, and Rembrandt. Because what I'm looking at is not the physical. I am looking at the physical. But my mind's eye is what's driving me, and my mind's eye looks to the soul of the picture. And you should know, Yonason, that this is such an important aspect, be it in art, but in life. You could look at the same person, and one person sees in that person a mess, a problem, and the other person sees in this person a diamond. The famous story you all know with the Rebbe, when people came by for dollars, and the Rebbe said, they asked the Rebbe, you don't get tired standing on your feet for 6 hours every Sunday? The Rebbe said, when he said to the person, let me ask you a question. When you count your money or you count your diamonds, do you get tired? No. On the contrary, you're counting those dollar bills or looking into the bank. What's my cheshbon? You're not tired because you're looking at a diamond. Every yid's a diamond. Both are looking at the same person, and one sees the problem and one sees the positive. And this is what we have to train ourselves, that when we see whatever it is in life, whatever chomer we see, focus on the nefesh, don't focus on the guf. And if you focus on the nefesh, in marriage is this way too, and in relationships. If you focus on the guf, on the body, oh, the nose isn't straight, the lips aren't big, the head is too small, and on and on. But if you look at the inside of the person, they're a gem. So how do you compare a diamond and a gem to the physical part, which is ancillary to the nefesh, to the soul? So this is what we're learning here. And you see this, you don't see these examples that I'm telling you, but this comes as a direct result of what the Rebbe says here. There is the chomer and there is the tzura. There is the riyas sichlis, the mind's eye, which is misyacheses l'nefesh, and there is riyah muchoshis, which is misyacheses lahaguf. Is that clear? Or anyone have questions? Okay. Continue. The Rebbe says now, the Zeu Amroi. So now he goes back to this saying that's Ripsodi Echza Elaka. From my flesh I will perceive godliness. Shehiriya Muchoshis. What type of seeing are we talking about here? That our perception of godliness, of Elokah, will be so paramount and so powerful that it will permeate the physical eye. And even although, generally speaking, both types of perception are equal, nevertheless, generally speaking, it is difficult to have seeing of godliness. Right? You understand? When's the last time you and I saw Hashem? It's been a long time, right? To have Riyum Muchoshis in Elikus. I mean, who could say? What?
Before the Rebbe in the group.
Oh, that's a chassid. But for a person to say that he sees Elokus b'muchash, in Jerusalem we call that the Jerusalem syndrome. Let's not kid ourselves. Let's not kid. And I'm talking about from the biggest rebbes and rabbis and rabbanim. Really, kuz b'muchash? You got to be kidding. So the Rebbe says here, it's like almost impossible to have that. Lochein oimer haloshen echze. Therefore, the prophet, I think it's Yeshaya, Hanavi, who says, Mipsari, from my flesh, echze Elokah. I will see God, but it doesn't say, Moshe, the word ere, I will see. It says echze, which is the Aramaic. The eina kemo inyan haria habihira. The implication is that this perception of godliness is not behira. It's not clear. Verak, it's only V'rak zois, asher mipsori echze Elokah, from my flesh I will perceive godliness. In other words, I have some image, some vision, some imagination, some experience, but it's not error. Error represents clarity. Echze is already a translation of error. And the reason why, this is what Chassidus says, Hillel, the reason why Shaya Navi doesn't use the Hebrew error and uses echze is because for the average person, you don't see Hashem b'muchash. The most you get is echze. That's the point.
So is the implication of that, meaning like Lashon, chazon, like it's kind of in between these two, or a combination of these two faculties of vision?
I'm not if you mean there's a famous chazal. It says that only Moshe was able to say zeh. Moshe had the nevuah with zeh. This is it. Right. Whereas the Nevi'im said, Koi Amar Hashem, Koi. Right. So says God. So Chassidus explains what's the difference, because the clarity that Moshe had as a Navi was 100% Zeh.
As for clarity de Meira.
That's right. Whereas the Nevi'im, they had only the Koi experience. Is that what you meant, Hillel? I'm not sure.
Well, actually, so... I think he's actually answering this in a way that generates another question. He says here, and this is what it says: in my flesh I will have a vision of God, which is a tangible or perceptible vision, right?
Yes.
That's the sentence. So what I was asking was, is the word echazeh, which is like the Zohar, which always says papazi, or like the word chazon, would it imply some kind of unification of these two faculties of vision that we've been talking about? But he says no. He's saying it's
right.
Simply.
Right. Why do you think it implies both together?
Well, because you were emphasizing that why the Navi had chosen the word zeh as opposed to Re'iyah.
Right. So, and the answer is because it's only secondary. It's only chazeh and not Re'iyah, because the Re'iyah Muchashis here it's not the Re'iyah Muchashis of on the highest level. It's the Re'iyah Muchashis of a level that's lower. That's clear. It's like the Kol. Okay. It's the Re'iyah Muchashis of Koi versus the Re'iyah Muchashis for Zeh.
Okay.
Moshe, are you lost? Hello, Moshe Braun. Are you following, or tell me? You seem like lost.
Yeah. I'm thinking very much about, interestingly enough, about what you're discussing about art as it relates to art, because it just so happens in the last 2 days I'm working on developing a tool for myself to walk myself through the process of taking the initial burst of inspiration and trying to understand very clear what is it that inspires me about a particular idea, trying to develop that to delineate sort of a process. So interestingly enough, yesterday, after it just so happened exactly what we were discussing yesterday in the Shir and this Maamar is what I'm dealing with right now, and so I was able to type up like a whole, almost like a tool for myself, like a questionnaire, so about this process. So I'm
no accident.
I'm thinking about.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. That's taking what we're learning and putting it into the real world. That's awesome.
Yeah, maybe what I'll do is after the Shir, I'll take it. I'll send it to the group just to make it interesting.
Well, whenever you're ready, whenever you have it, whether it's a week, whatever, whenever you have it all compiled and organized and it's clear, Okay, let's continue. So now he says, V'im hayois, we're 4 lines from the bottom of the paragraph. V'im hayois rak ma she'echze. Hillel, he says, this is a rhetorical question. And although it is only echze, v'lo mamish, it's not actual seeing. Avol im zeh, nevertheless, hinehu echze elokah. It's still, this is what I told you before, Hillel. It's still some form of seeing godliness. In other words, you can't discount the observation of godliness even when it comes from a physical goof perspective. Now this is very important as well. In other words, if you compare seeing Hashem, Riyah Muchoshis, to anything less, it seems that Riyah Muchoshis is the star, the greatest, the best, and everything else is small change, says the Rebbe. It is small change compared to seeing God, Moshe Myers. However, let's start with the small change. Let us start by observing. You see, don't go for broke. Someone will say, it's Elul, I'm working every day, I'm thinking about my character, I'm making a cheshbon hanefesh, then comes Rosh Hashanah, then comes Yom Kippur, then comes Sukkot Simchas Torah, then comes cheshbon, and he looks back and he's unpacking the bags, right? That famous song. Tiku b'chodesh, shoifer b'keseh, ay 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 ay. It's a known Chabad tune that was sung by Hasidim when they returned from seeing their Rebbe during the month of Tishrei. And what's the meaning of the song? So what did you bring back? What's your luggage full of? Food, toys. What'd you bring back? And Chassidim said, we brought back this Maamar that the Rebbe said, Rosh Hashanah, Tikul B'chodesh Shofar, was many times the beginning of a Maamar Chassidus that the Rebbes said on Rosh Hashanah. So they would say, Tikul B'chodesh, B'chodesh. They sang out what the Rebbe was implying. This is what we heard. This is what we went for. Here, guys, you guys in the little shtetl, you didn't get to go. We're sharing with you the Maamar, right? That's a great beginning. Because you might say, I make an account, and I worked hard, and I'm still stuck in the same place. And we know what that means. We all know what that means. So comes along Chassidus and says, there is Riyah Muchoshis and Alikus, which would be like, I got out of my boundaries, I jumped out of the sand and the schmutz, and I'm a new person. Totally. And then there is, I'm not a new person, but I'm on my way. What's most relevant is the process and the progress. The process and the progress, not the final result of whether I will be a tzaddik or a beinani. The whole idea of Tanya, Hillel, when you learn Tanya, and all of you, we all learn Tanya, it's not to search and seek. I want to have a title on me called Beinani, partial Beinani, little Beinani, junior Beinani. That's absurd and ridiculous. Just do what you need to do. Immerse yourself in learning and davening and giving tzedakah and helping another Jew and making someone smile. And go out and do it. Don't think about what will be. Because believe me, if you're doing the right thing, many good things will be. Now, later, and in the future. So the Rebbe says here, in the words of the Maamar, that it's an echze experience. It is not a ria experience, but never. So to say that you have ria muchoshis in Elokus, you don't. But you can have an echze experience in godliness. And that's very, very healthy and very important. And you said today, Hillel, that you're going to see the Tolna Rebbe. So from now till when you get there, this is your opportunity for the echze experience to prepare yourself. You're going to a tzaddik. This isn't just you're going to a relative. You can go to a relative any other time. You're going to someone who you believe is a holy person, a tzaddik who's communicating the word of Hashem, etc. So, and this is when we go to the oyel or when we write to a tzaddik, it's the same thing. Or if you're in your house, Moshe, and you look at a picture of a tzaddik and you have an issue that's troubling you, and you close your eyes or you open your eyes and you look and you think, that's the therapy, the meditation, the therapeutic meditation that we're talking about, the echze experience. Let's just finish this paragraph. The yeshno minyon elikus. There are godly ideas. Get lechazachin. In Yiddish, get lechazachin means godly things. Sheboyim bahasoge uriu mechoshis, which come to a person in a tangible way. And look what they are. Moshe, look what they are. Ukumay be'inyan hashgoche protis. Divine providence. Sheroyim elikus bemuchash. You see God in actuality. In other words, any issue that bespeaks hashgoche protis, divine providence, that is contact with God. You're seeing God. Someone says, you want to see God? Yeah, the answer is find divine providence in your life. The fact that you walking down the street and the tree branch fell down and it didn't hit you on your head, hashgoche protis. The fact that you gave tzedakah today, and because of your tzedakah, a person was able to do A, B, and C, hashgoche protis. So why is he saying this? Because hashgoche protis does not require one to be a man, a person who can see God. Even if you don't see God, you're not such a holy person. You're a regular fellow. But whatever your experiences are, if you clearly identify the experience with hashgoche protis, then you are echze be'elokus. And that's very powerful. So these few words, this last line, these 5 words, puts the entire last section into perspective in a practical way. What is the echze and elokus? Granted, I don't have ria belokus. I have echze belokus, hashgoche protis. And there's no one alive that cannot and should not experience divine providence. It's a matter of paying attention. It's a matter of paying attention. So if you rush and you rush and you rush, like, sometimes we're in the car and my wife and daughter say, and it's traffic and you get nervous and it's late. So they say 2 words, hashgoche protis. It's divine for you to be stuck in a traffic jam. What's the hashgoche protis? I don't know. But it is hashgoche protis. So now you can either embrace it and see and work on finding how it is indeed hashgoche protis, or you could just say, those are nice words. We have to say it to sound good. Or you can actually see and work and understand that maybe by the traffic delay, there was an accident in front on, and you didn't, Baruch Hashem, get into the accident. I don't know. Everyone has, I mean, we all hear stories day in, day out of Hashgacha Pratis. But Hashgacha Pratis begins with us personally, and it's a hard avodah. Hashgacha Pratis, seeing Hashgacha Pratis is not eating, bread with butter or margarine. It's not. It's an avodah. It's an avodah to see in everything, and a yid in this month of Elul, and we prepare ourselves. We make a cheshbon hanefesh. I think this is a very practical thing to find more aspects in our life that are mamish hashgacha pratis. Have a good day, everyone. We'll see everyone tomorrow. Take care. Hillel, bring regards to the Tolner Rebbe from our shir. Please tell him that we have a shir Sunday through Thursday. We learn Chassidus Chabad from the previous Rebbe that we're learning. If you don't mind, if you tell him, and that we ask for a bracha, that we should continue learning with a geschmack and an understanding, and that we should be inspired to use it in our life. Okay? Thank you. Sei gesund. Have a good day. See everyone tomorrow. Bye-bye.